All right, here we are. Uh, so, as you can see, I have been working on the removal of this engine. I only started on this maybe I don't know, probably an hour or so ago. So, what did I do? Well, let's take a look. So, what I have done is I started off by popping off the hood, took out the radiator, took out the whole core support and header panel and everything associated with that. Um, got everything unhooked that will need to be unhooked up top. I mean, the motor mounts are still bolted up and everything, but I've got the wiring where I need it to be. So what I'm going to do is just kind of put the wiring up here or whatever. Um, it's no longer like attached electrically to the rest of the vehicle. I already had the catalytic converters cut off of this, so there shouldn't be anything I have to do with the exhaust. I should be able to pull it just like that. Um, what else is left? I have to basically to pull this out. All I'll have to do is get underneath it, take out the bolts for the transmission crossmember and the motor mounts, and I should be good. I've got everything else taken off. Um, if this is a job you're getting ready to tackle, at least on a vehicle that is just a parts vehicle, you're not ever trying to put this thing back together like how I am. Definitely removing, actually, honestly, removing both fenders would be ideal, which I still might do. Still might go and remove this other fender. I had sold this fender, so I just pulled the little plastic inner fender right off of here, and I have so much room around this motor. I mean, this is almost as this is about as close as you can get to having it on a stand while it's still in the vehicle. So, yeah, I might pull off this fender to make it easier, but I might not. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, so I gotta take out the mounts, take out the transmission mount, and remove the drive shaft, what have you. So, yeah, pretty pretty much that's about it. I went ahead and figured out where I'm going to hook up my chain to pull it out. I actually just have this cover sitting here because I'm going to set the hood back on it because I'm pretty much finishing up. Have this pulled out tomorrow, not because of how long it'll take. I probably got like less than an hour left on the removal of this. But what sucks, it's just I'm not going to do it in the rain. No thanks. um, so be later this week. I'll have it out. Uh, but wanted to wait a little bit later in the stream because I want to see if anybody was online to come and watch it actually live. But you guys will see it after anyway. I know that there's a good amount of you guys that watch my stuff even while it's not live just to see what happened. Um, so I went ahead and I still got the fan on the front here, but I just, first of all, I thought I had the wrench for this fan because I've taken these off before. When I used to work at the junkyard, I took off a couple of these, and I had the wrench, and I don't know what the hell I did with it. I'm gonna have to go get another wrench to pull this fan off. Um, but anyway, sorry about that. I went ahead and I took this breaker bar with the socket on it, and if you're ever needing to do this, the socket you'll need is just, I used a 1 inch, maybe another size will fit better, who knows. Um, but yeah, I took a 1 inch socket and put it on the front of the main crank pulley, and this thing is locked up pretty solid. I'll break the bolt before it turns the motor. So that's a pretty big bummer. I'm not going to be able to free this motor up as I have with other motors without taking the heads out of it. Um, I don't know if I'm even going to end up using this motor, but at least it's good parts. Because if it's locked up, it's going to be either the one of the cylinders is filled with water or oil or whatever, and they call that hydro locking it, which is possible. And hopefully, if that's the case, it's full of oil and not not coolant. But you know, I've got my suspicions if that's what it is. But the other possibility is that it's rusted on the inside of one of the cylinders. Um, I guess there's like a few reasons why this can happen, but essentially, for most cases, it means that the engine's toast. But I'm trying to do this as cheaply as possible, so I'm gonna pull it out anyway. Pop the I'm gonna pop the cylinder heads right off of it and have a look. If you looked at some of my earlier streams about this, I did scope a couple of the cylinders in this motor, and they looked fine. I didn't do I didn't do all of them because I was being lazy, and I only had the scope for like a little bit of time. I didn't really have enough time to really mess with it. I just wanted to have a quick look inside of it to have an idea. And if I am to believe the person that I got this truck off of, this thing wasn't locked up when it was parked. It locked up after. And they said that they had tried to start it up and they thought it was locked up. It's not like they screwed me over on this deal. I knew that was a possibility when I picked it up. But I also thought, well, maybe that they just weren't using a good enough battery and the starter wasn't turning it. So anyway, if nothing else, I'll use the transmission because, pretty certain that this motor is why this was parked, so the transmission's most likely fine. So I'll at least keep it for that purpose. And yeah, that's where that is going. What else is happening? Yeah, I guess that's all that's happened. Like I said, I only really started messing around with this like a little bit over an hour ago, because after all the rain that we've been having around here, it's just made for a lot of yard work being necessary, because you don't get to do any type of yard work when it's wet. I mean, you could, but it wouldn't be any fun. So I had to cut the old grass and mess around with some brush and all kinds of debris, as somebody once said. Funny story about that. A friend of mine had a shop, and they worked on a lot of snowmobiles up in Maine, and there was a guy that called him up looking for parts because he had like a Craigslist ad about selling parts. And so this guy calls him up, and I don't know exactly what he was looking for, but the guy said to him, well, I just opened up my engine and I found a lot of debris in there. And we all got a kick out of that. It's like pretty indicative of somebody that is working off of like an internet article or a forum post, because they don't know that it's supposed to be pronounced debris. They think that like it's a hard S, I guess. So yeah, just so you're in on the joke if you hear me say it again. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and shut this one down here at almost the 10-minute mark, because I've gone over everything that's happened. But be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you guys get notified. I got like 156 subscribers the last time I looked, maybe give or take, but right around over 150 subscribers anyway. And it seems like it takes a long time for the views to roll in off of my subscribers, and I think it's because YouTube just isn't telling people about it. So yeah, there's like that little bell icon next to the subscribe button, so that way you can know whenever I post. And if you like it, give it a thumbs up, and I will catch you guys in the next one.